What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of On the Card presented by TRHS Sports. We're into episode number 17, and it is Sunday, August 30th. We had a pretty good day yesterday. It was just frustrating. I pretty much told all of you don't take my college football bets. So if you did, I hope you only took one of them. Neither one of them hit, which is exactly kind of what I expected, unfortunately. That's just me taking a shot in the dark, doing some sloppy betting just to do that. I'll never do anything like that again on here. It was just too much fun. And that game was fun. And at the end of the game, we're sitting there and we're rooting for Austin P to actually throw a touchdown, which was a nice feeling. Neither one of the bets hit, but it's good to see college football back. And the bets will get much sharper as we start actually moving through. That was more of a, hey, if you want to do this, you got to do this. Yankees were a winner at plus 100. That was a good one for us. Twins minus 1.5. They got shelled. Randy Dobnik looked terrible the other day. Just absolute garbage. I don't know what was wrong with him. He was walking everybody, gave up so many hits. It was really bad. If PJ Tucker doesn't headbutt Schroeder, we probably get the PJ Tucker and Chris Paul over, because I know Chris Paul went under and I know PJ Tucker went under. PJ Tucker needed a basket. He had 5 at halftime. Just needed 1 bucket in the second half, and he headbutt Schroeder right at the beginning. And I think when the headbutt of Schroeder happened, OKC literally never had a chance to bounce back at all, which meant Chris Paul only went for 16 because he can play a lot late. Vucevic, we needed 1 bucket from him too. He was so off. He missed like 15 or 16 shots, which is absolutely absurd for somebody like him. So the fact that he still hit 22 lets me know it was a good bet. It just didn't happen. Milwaukee, Orlando under 227.5 hits. Melo over 17.5 hit in the first half. Vancouver, Vegas under 6 hit in the NHL. Islanders, Lightning both hit. And Vancouver ended up losing, but as I said, just make that a very, very small bet because the number was really, really nice. So hopefully nobody lost too much there, because if you didn't, you probably had a great day in the NHL just winning, because that's essentially what we did. And yeah, you took a little bit of a hit there with the Vancouver winner, but like I said, 1 unit bet, nothing big. We're going to try to keep it going here in this next one. For today, this is probably going to be the last time I do this for a couple of days now. I don't think I'm going to do it on Monday. I might wait until Wednesday or Thursday. So make sure to follow me on my website, betonphilwood.com. You'll be able to get more bets there, especially some series futures. I know that I think the Bucks versus Heat already starts on Monday, so I'll be doing my series future prediction for that series coming up. And I'll be writing about that tonight so that you can see that over on my website. All right. Here's what we got for today. We got a lot going on, and I'm going to be giving some lines here that I like, but that I also think you should consider possibly waiting on a little bit. So just keep that in mind as I go through this. For the MLB, I got Colorado and San Diego over 12.5 runs. That's the only bet I have. It's Castellani taking on I actually forget Paddock, and so yesterday they only scored 7. It was a 4-3 final. We got 2 of the better hitting teams though in the MLB playing in the best ballpark to hit in the MLB. They've gone 7 twice in their 5 games, and in the other 3, they've gone over 12.5 easy. I like them to go over 12.5 here because neither one of these pitchers has been very, very good. So Colorado, San Diego over 12.5 runs, and I'm putting that on the card. That's the only MLB bet I have for the day. I'm going to go to the NBA, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. And so listen closely if you're following along. If you have the ability to live bet, I will tell you which ones I think you should live bet because you will get much, much better odds. So here's where we're at. We're going to start off with the Raptors game. Raptors taking on the Celtics. That game's only in about an hour and a half, so hopefully you're here right away. I got the Raptors -2. I think that's a really good bet. I really like that one. I think that one's something you should definitely put on your card because I think the Raptors are the better team here. The Celtics are coming off looking really good against the Sixers, but the Sixers aren't really good. So I like the Raptors here. I think they're the better team. I like them to get out to a 1-0 series lead. I like Brad Stevens to coach his guys, get them back to a 1-1 series. And I like this series kind of go back and forth throughout, but I like the Raptors to take game 1, and -2 is too easy. I mean, it's literally a bucket. I think that this is the best you could ask for if you're on the Raptors, and I'm on the Raptors, and I think it's great that we could get it here. For the over-under in the game, I also like the under. Boston-Toronto under 217. These are 2 teams that play pretty good defense, and even when they played in the bubble earlier, the Celtics absolutely killed the Raptors, and it still only went to 222. I'm thinking like now NBA playoffs, they start playing a little bit better defense, both teams. The Raptors really would let the Nets play their pace, and that's why their games are a little bit higher scoring, but the Celtics games against the 76ers weren't very high scoring at all. So I like the under 217 here. I think that's a really good bet. And my last one here, and this one's a little bit of a chance, but I like it and I can't help it, and I'm just going to take it. And you know what? This is another one. Do like a unit. Don't do 4 units, 5 units. Do like 1 or 2 units just to get this one out there. But I have Kyle Lowry points plus assists under 25.5. Now, why do I have that? He's coming off an injury. We don't know if he's going to play his full minutes. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but maybe the ankle bothers him and he only plays 30 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever. He has not gone for over 24. He has not hit the number of 25 yet since the bubble restarted for points plus assists. Now, I know that it's playoff time, which means big-time players have to play more in the playoffs and actually have to do more stuff. But it's not like Kyle Lowry wasn't looking for shots against the Nets. It's not like he wasn't looking to assist against the Nets. There was just something that wasn't happening there. So I think this number is a little too high, and I'm going to take the under 25.5. Play with trends. I mean, in the last 10 games, that's what he's done. His season average between the two is 19.5 and 7.5, which puts him at 27. So barely above this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the under and I'm going to ride this one. And I'm going to, it's the only time I'm probably ever going to do a points plus assist, but it just really stood out to me. And let's see what happens here in this game. You know, this is a little bit of more of a chance, but I still like it. So those are my 3 bets for that game. Now we're going to get into this Clippers Mavericks game. I like the over in this game. I do. It's a really, really high over. It's all the way up to 238.5, which I know is astronomical. However, the Mavericks are not going to play any defense in this game. The Clippers look like they're back. The Clippers defense still gives up a lot of points, even when they play really, really well, as we saw in the last game when they won like 154 to 111. I don't expect it to be that high scoring again, but I like the Clippers to put up over 130, meaning that Luka and the Mavericks just need to put up over 100 pretty much. 105, 106. This game's easily going over, and I think that that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the over of 238.5, which is astronomical. I'm going to put it on the card because in a game where Dallas is incredibly desperate, I like them to keep it close, similar to what the Blazers did last night. And I could see this being a 131, 122 game, something like that, where the worst team is actually pushing the tempo of the game, yet the better team still finds a way to win. They just win it in high scoring fashion. So I like the over in this game of 238.5. Now I have 2 player props here. I have 1 player prop here, which I think you're going to be able to get lower as the game goes on. We have Paul George over 23.5, and I loved Paul George the last time. I liked him to get out of his funk, and I think he's back now. I think the days off will do him good. I think the refocus will do him good. The whole like boycott could not have come at a better time for Paul George because he was coming off the best game he's had since he's been in the bubble. So I think it's amazing that, you know, the timing of that, he's at his highest confidence, which is fantastic. I like him to come out and play really, really well in this game. Is he going to score early? I don't know. It's at 23.5. I mean, you're taking a chance anytime you wait to live bet something. So I would probably just take this now, but you could also wait and just and see if you can get him off to a slow start in the first 4 or 5 minutes and get it at 20, you know, something like that. I think he clears the 23.5, no problem though. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Paul George over 23.5 on the card and say that playoff P is back. All right, last game, and this is just 2 player props, and I think you should wait on both of them. Okay, so that's if you have the ability to live bet, do it. I still think both of these are going to hit. I still have confidence in both of them, but if you have the ability to live bet, wait and do it. I'm starting off with Jamal Murray over 27.5 points. This has gone up quite a lot because his last 2 games, he went for 50 and 42. He's been going off. It's the only way Denver is going to win games in this series. If they want to force a game 7, it goes through Jamal Murray. Jokic kept them in it at the beginning, but it's going to go through Jamal Murray. And so the importance here is with Jamal Murray, he doesn't score in the first quarter. It never happens. If you were sitting there on the over with me last time, you're going, oh my God, what is Jamal Murray doing? We're never going to hit this over. It's not even going to be close. He doesn't score in the first quarter. He waits until the 3rd and 4th, and then he picks it up. He's a second half player. That's what he is, which is why I think you could probably get this number all the way down to about 20, 21 if you really wait for it live. Now, watch this be the game where he scores 10 in the first half. Okay, maybe he does. Or first quarter, maybe he does. But I don't see him being the person who's going to be taking the shots early. They're going to try to distribute. It's the problem with Denver, though. If Jamal Murray would just take over from the beginning, Denver would win these games or at least be up in these games early. Instead, they let themselves fall behind and then are always trying to play catch up. Edit at like 23.5 or something like that, because that's normally where it goes. And then the next one I have is Mike Conley over 18.5 at plus 100. It's a bit of an underdog bet here. I like Mike Conley in the series. He was handling the ball a lot for them at the end of the game last time, not so much Donovan Mitchell, and I think that's interesting. He barely went under last game, went over easily in the 2 games before that. Connolly has been shooting lights out since he's been back from the birth of his son. So I really think that Mike Connolly is going to come out. I think he gets 20 in this game, no problem. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I'm not going to take the over just in case I'm completely misreading this game. The last thing you want is 2 player overs and then the game over, and it's 100-94. But I do think that Mike Connolly is going to get his points in this game, and I think he hits 20 because Denver, if Utah wants to win, they're going to have to score 125 because I think Denver is just going to come out shooting, and they're going to try to win this one. So that's what I got for this game. And those are all my NBA bets. So again, Raptors -2. I love that one. Boston, Toronto under 217. I love that one. Kyle Lowry points plus assists under 25.5. Think about it. It's something that you could do a smaller unit bet on. I think it's worth looking at. Dallas Clippers over 238.5. I think is great. Paul George over 23.5. I think it's a good number. I also think you can get a better number live, but I would just take it at 23.5. Jamal Murray over 27.5. I would wait and bet that one live, although I did put it on the card. And Mike Connolly over 18.5. Another one. I think you could probably wait, get a better number live, but 18.5. I think this guy's going for 20 this game, at least. That's what he did 2 games prior to the last one where they lost. I think that this one's going to be higher scoring. I think it's going to be more back and forth. The Jazz do not want a game 7. A game 7 means anything can happen. They do not want a game 7. So they're going to be trying to score early and often. And I like Mike Connolly to be a big part of that. Going on to the NHL, we had a really good day yesterday in the NHL. And right now the NHL is all about momentum. That is just what the NHL is right now. The team with momentum is the better team right now. We're going to start off with the Colorado-Dallas game. I have the over again, F6. It's at +100. I'm just going to keep taking the over in this series until one of the goalies proves they can do something. Philip Grubauer can't save anything. And right now, Khudobin in the last game couldn't save anything. There were 6 goals in the third period last game. 6 goals in the third period. It ends at 10. I think this is going over again. I think Colorado knows they need to score if they want to win this game and tie the series up at 2. It's the only way they're going to win. They're not going to win a 1-0, 2-0 game. They need to score. Dallas has been resilient all series long. Every time they fall down, they come back. And then Colorado in the last game really showed something when they came back in the third period after falling behind 4-3, giving up 3 goals right away, and then coming out and winning at 6-4. I love the over here. I mean, I'm going to bet this over until I would bet this over even if this game goes under. I'm still going to bet the over the next game. It doesn't make sense to me. I get hockey goal totals aren't going to go up that much, but the 6 goals for this series just doesn't make sense. I'm also going to go with Colorado. I was able to see it at -1. Where they were +125. I think this was on FanDuel. If you could find that, take it. I'm taking it. Colorado -1 at +125. I'm not necessarily screaming they're going to win this game, but if they win it by 1, okay, we push. But if they win it by more than 1, we get it at +125. I think that's great odds right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that and put that on the card. I think it was on FanDuel. I saw it, but shop around, see where you can find it, see where you can see that line. Okay, so those are the 2 goal things I have for the Colorado-Dallas game. I don't have anything for the Flyers-Islanders game. I want to see if the Flyers are as resilient as they were after the first game. The difference was after the first game, they come back for game. At the end of the game, they were playing really, really well. And then they come back in game 2 and they win the game. The Islanders dominated the second and third periods of game 3. Therefore, I'm a little worried that the Flyers aren't going to do very much this game, and therefore the Flyers are going to lose. It's all about momentum. I'm not going to touch it, though. The Islanders at -120. I think it's too much for something that you're really just taking a chance on. And then finally, this one is on FanDuel, so make sure to go over to FanDuel and place this bet. I am taking the Vegas Vancouver under 6.5 goals. That's right. FanDuel moved this one up to 6.5 after last night's 3-0 game. I like it under 6.5. I think this game, again, I said the Vegas Golden Knights are not giving up 5 goals again in the game. They're not doing it. And even if Vancouver comes out and scores 2 in this game and Vegas scores 4 and wins it 4-2, we're still under. I don't see this game going any higher than that. I think 4-2 is the absolute highest. The worst case scenario is a 3-3 goes to overtime and it ends 4-3, but I don't see either of these teams giving up 5 goals again. That's just not the way they play. Those first 2 games are outliers. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the under of 6.5. Those are all my bets for the day. That's a lot of bets. It's a lot going on. Russell's still in Reno. I'm giving him a lot of options here so that he can win in Reno. But like I said, there's going to be changes coming up for this, I believe, starting tomorrow. So I got to figure all that out with Russell. So I probably won't be back for this thing tomorrow. But Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Phil Wood Jr. Go to my website, betonphilwood.com. I'll be giving futures. My NHL futures have been fire lately. I hit the Lakers yesterday plus 240 to win the series 4-1. That was a nice little bet. So keep on paying attention over there. And just a quick run through of what we have. Colorado, San Diego over 12.5 runs in the MLB. Raptors -2. Boston, Toronto under 217. Kyle Lowry points plus assists under 25.5. Clippers, Mavericks over 238.5. Paul George over 23.5. Jamal Murray over 27.5. You can get it better live. Mike Conley over 18.5. You can get it better live. And NHL, Colorado, Dallas over 6. Vancouver, Vegas under 6.5. And Colorado -1 at +125. I'll see you all the next time on the card. Go out there, win some money, and shoot some tweets at TRHS Sports to let us know when you're winning. But other than that, I'll see you next time on the card.